Joining us now to discuss the latest developments is Miri. She's a retired IDF colonel and senior fellow with the International Institute for Counterterrorism and joins us live from Tel Aviv, Israel. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll get straight into it. Israel says it's speeding up demolitions along the southern border and targeting bridges in what many see as a major escalation. So why are they doing this now?
They're doing it as part of the campaign to stop Hezbollah. You quoted before President Aoun, but I would also quote the Prime Minister, Nawaf Salam, who yesterday, as the Prime Minister of Lebanon, accused Hezbollah of being the one who's bringing about the destruction of Lebanon. Hezbollah is a terror army inside the country Lebanon. Lebanon itself has not been able, with its Lebanese army, to dismantle it in any way. What Israel is trying to do right now is to protect people who live inside Israel. Hezbollah joined in on March 2nd with the Islamic terror regime, and they've been firing every minute into Israel. I have friends up north who live right next to the border. They're inside Israel. Zero alert time. Drones, missiles, rockets, IEDs. That's what Hezbollah has been using in the last 3 weeks against us.
But Israel is using increasingly aggressive rhetoric, and we are seeing heavier strikes in Lebanon. Is that in Israel's interest? How does it avoid making an already severe humanitarian crisis even worse?
I'm going to ask, what do you do then with Hezbollah, this terror army that is established and entrenched inside all of Lebanon, not just southern Lebanon? These are Lebanese. Then these Lebanese, these Hezbollah, chose to go with the Islamic terror regime of Iran. Right now for Israel, it's about moving away this capability of this terror regime and this terror army to fire into Israel. So yes, it's absolutely an enlarging of the campaign, but it's against very specific targets. I know it's happening in Lebanon, and that means that we are attacking in Lebanon. But the targets that Israel is attacking are absolutely Hezbollah terror targets. You're going after that Hezbollah army. And as I said before, right now inside Lebanon, the clear voices are blaming Hezbollah. And when we talk about the dislocated, the displaced, the people moving, and my heart goes out to every single one of them, we're trying to save lives and to destroy that terror capability, and that will give an opening for Lebanon. Hand in hand with that fist, and it's a fist, Israel has been trying with this Lebanese government to reach out and have some kind of dialogue. There are new voices there that are very important to hear, not just about the war and the destruction, but about the possibility for dialogue to go forward between Lebanon and Israel. And again, Hezbollah, Lebanese, chose Iran. This is with the Lebanese government, president, prime minister, to talk with them as well.
Lebanon's government has moved against Hezbollah's military activity, and there is growing pressure for disarmament. Could Israel's actions actually make that harder to achieve, though?
It's a very delicate balance, isn't it, Ben? If you don't destroy the capabilities, I'm not talking about destroying Lebanon at all. I'm talking about Hezbollah's terror capabilities. If I put down the list of missiles, of drones they've fired in the last 3 weeks, a 300-kilometer length missile, of course made by Iran, supplied by Iran. Iran in the last year, since the ceasefire was signed between Israel and Lebanon, again, to stop Hezbollah, and the Lebanese armed forces were supposed to have disarmed Hezbollah. Look at what they're firing at Israel. They still have an enormous arsenal. So you're right, it is a delicate balance, but I want to think that for the better and the future of Lebanon, for both the defense inside Israel against Hezbollah, not against Lebanon, if you do not attack those arsenals, those capabilities, the missiles, the drones, the IEDs, the ATMs, these are all different military terms that are being fired into Israel, then you are not going to be able to arrive at any kind of resolution with Lebanon. It'll still be in Lebanon, fester in Lebanon, it'll tear Lebanon apart. So it isn't either or, it's both.
After the exhaustion of the Gaza war, how much support is there in Israel for a campaign in Lebanon that could become long and costly too?
Ben, I mean, it's like the question that every single person I know asks themselves. And I talk with you right now from my house, and you can see my bookshelves behind me. And in the last 3 weeks, I've been a wanderer because the Iranian missiles that are being fired at Israel, the different types, the ones that have gotten through, as you all know, are either cluster bombs, which are very difficult to intercept, or the 1.5 ton warheads like the one that struck day before yesterday at night in a city down south. And I say that because this is not a normal life. Our abnormal life means that inside Israel, kids are not at school. Nobody likes school, right? But remote learning is even worse. If your kids are not in school, and that's at every single age, it's very difficult for parents to be able to work, if at all. You want to know where your shelter is. So you're absolutely right. You can't do this forever. But what's amazing to me inside Israel that has been very critical of our government and still is of a lot of different things, we have enormous backing for this action against the Islamic regime and against Hezbollah. Because when you border next to it, you go, you can't live like this every single day. We're on the other side of the border with enormous respect to the Lebanese government. They have within them an arsenal of a terror army, which is larger than most militaries in the world. That the Islamic regime of Iran fires cluster bombs at Israel and nobody really cares. So we sit here and we hope there's still a lot of support. Yes, it's eroding, but that's because we're tired and it's hard, but we're still in it.
It is very, very hard. It's very difficult indeed. Okay, Miri Isen, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your perspective. We appreciate it. Live from Tel Aviv. Thank you.
Thank you.